It's time for the annual Ladbrokes Awards, where we announce the horse, trainer and jockey of the year.
Generally, if you put these people in a dark room, they develop, you know, and they're sooks.
Let's start with the trainer of the year, and of course we've got to bounce it off with Chris Waller. Moods, someone like you, are you even in awe of what Chris Waller does year after year?
Oh, he's done a tremendous job, hasn't he? And no sign of any slowing down. Probably one of his finest hours. Probably twice this season, Melbourne Cup and then the success at Royal Ascot. His own success probably brings around about his demise a little bit because he has multiple runners in big races, so he doesn't have that sparkling strike rate of some of the other big stables. But listen, he just does it time and time again, turns them out. His dominance of the Sydney training scene is TJ Smith-like.
The good thing for Sydney is Mara and Eustace are going to become more of a force up there, and they certainly need it. To you, Adam, just some of the radical things they tried this year, like the Hitotsu first up, long time between runs, Coolangatta, almost an unprecedented big break going into a golden slipper as well. It's changing the game a bit.
They are changing the game, and I think it's probably facility related, and Moods could probably touch on that, but we see that in the ratings. It's your traditional old ratings dogs find it very hard to forecast Coolangatta running to her best in a golden slipper off that sort of break, and Hitotsu going from a mile straight to a mile and a half. They're blowing the models up, and they're doing it, and I think they're here to stay, and they're going to continue to do that, as I said, I think because of facilities.
I think they're combining science with training, you know, using their eye with the science that they have, the data that they keep, you know, and to have that data, you probably need years of it behind you so you can actually back it up. And they've been doing this for years, and now they're starting to really bring that and marry it all together.
There's a place for us data nerds.
Yeah, well,
there is.
And there is on this point too, the rise of Annabelle Neesham. The data backs up her great couple of years.
Yeah, she's just done a great job of, I mean, it's probably a trainer's hardest job is to make sure they get good horses into the stable, and she's, in a couple of years, she's already got 15 horses rated over 100 in the yard, and she's, you know, her median rating is up there with the big guys across her runners overall, so she's very quickly put together a really strong stable, and she's making the most of it. No trainer of the big guns, no trainer's making more money per runner than Annabelle Neesham.
There's still, I won't say angst, but there's probably some jealousies out there because of the PR juggernaut that Annabelle's become as well. How does that sit with you?
Oh, there's always going to be that when you come on the scene and you make a big splash very quickly. There's going to be people that are going to be wondering how you do it and why you're doing it and sort of stuff like that. Those people who are saying that, you know, generally if you put these people in a dark room, they develop, you know, and they're sooks, you know. But she's a product of the Ma Eustace stable. She come through that system. You don't train winners sitting in your lounge room. She's out there every day. She's busting her butt. More owners have come into our industry just because of her. I think she's just doing an amazing job.
And Anthony and Sam Freedman, Bossy, they've been terrific, haven't they? I mean, winning 3 of the past 4 Blue Diamonds, that's no easy feat. Yeah,
when you talk about Anthony and Sam, you talk about the yin and yang. You know, Anthony's just an amazing horse person, always has been.
He needed Sam.
Well, he needed Sam because Sam's the other part of it. You know, the mix. He handles all that publicity side of it, and so them together, they're an amazing mix. I love Anthony as a trainer. I think he's world class, to be honest. And but yeah, their records speak for themselves.
Adam, the man next to you, Peter Moody, pretty handy comeback to training ranks on stats and dollars per runner.
Yeah, so we have a power rankings model, if you like, for Australian trainers.
Love this. Yeah. His ego's big enough here.
Here we go. Australian trainers in group races and how dominant they are in there, and there he is, number 3 already this year, Peter Moody. A table topped, and I'll ask him about his old mates, he's table topped by Mick Price.
Yeah, well, you know, we're talking about people being reborn or new people on the scene like an Annabelle Neesham, but Mick Price, he's like a new kid on the block, isn't he, with Michael Kent Jr. joining his stables. For Price, you can just see it in himself, you know, he's just bouncing and he's got good horses. He's got a glow about himself, his horses have got a glow about himself, and they're going to the races and performing.
Summing up, short answer, trainer of the year?
Oh, Chris Waller has to be, there's no doubt. But I'm going to back a bloke that's only just come back on the scene 2 years, Peter Moody. He's my watch. Young bloke, 2 years training under his belt. Wow, he's going to make big things.
He'll go far.
He'll go far.
That's a love in for you, Moods. Taking yourself out of the equation, trainer of the year.
Listen, Chris Waller, you know, Melbourne Cup and Ascot success, fantastic.
Adam?
Yeah, I'll put my hand up for the mighty mix. I think they're, I'm a punter. You're better off backing Mick Price than you are Chris Waller. So Mick Price and Mick Kent for me.
Well, now to Jockey of the Year, aka the James McDonald Award. Not only does he win it, Bossy, but have we ever seen a greater season by a jockey?
Oh, I don't believe so. And this is just the beginning of this journey. I've said it numerous times and I'll keep saying he'll break all the records and he will be the benchmark for anyone coming through for decades to come.
What does history say, Adam, about the season James McDonald had up with some of the other great jockeys?
Yeah, so our rankings again at Racing and Sports have James McDonald dominant, as you would expect, and there's plenty of good numbers out there to tell you that he was the dominant jockey this season, but we haven't seen dominance on our numbers like this since Darren Beedman at the turn of the century, and then Ollie in that sort of 04, that sort of 3 or 4 year period there. They were up around this level. J-Mac's there now. These careers are all defined by these big moments, and he's got those as well. He's had a year full of huge moments, and his ride on Very Elegant in the Melbourne Cup is about as good as you'll ever see.
And you were beaten by him, but it was a peach, wasn't it?
He's just a phenomenal person, and then he goes to racing, and his riding ability, it's unparalleled. I'm like Glenn, you watch him and you think, God, it's just second nature for this young man.
He just wants to improve though, Pete.
And he's had a fair time away from the sport as well.
Which could have been the making of him.
100%.
Exactly. But you can just see the next couple of decades. We've just seen the GOAT have his 50th, D. Oliver. For him to be at the top level so consistently for 3.5 decades, and this young man's possibly got that career ahead of him if he chooses, but he seems to have taken it to another level again.
Yeah.
Quick comment on a few others. Huey Bowman just keeps on keeping on.
He's just a world-class rider, and he was voted the world's best jockey 2 years ago. Yeah, we've just got so much talent in Australia, it's incredible, but Huey Bowman's always up the top.
And I'll throw another couple of names in the hat that might be a little bit more left field from the Racing and Sports rankings. That's Sam Clipperton. Had a fantastic autumn in particular, and his numbers have been top 10 in Australia, jockey sort of stuff. And the other one who just doesn't get the opportunities, and I think it's because of his weight, is your old mate Luke Nolan, whose numbers, particularly through the summer months, he was not getting many rides, but he was making no mistakes, and his efficiency stats were ruthless.
We forget a bloke for 3 months a year because he goes to Japan and plies his trade, Damien Lane. Phenomenal rider. And we marvel at James McDonald's Flemington Carnival, but Jamie Carr, she's a talent that is unbelievable. I've never seen a rider so natural with a horse. Yeah. James McDonald might be the best jockey, but Jamie Carr, I've never seen anyone, I don't care who it is, Glen Boss, DL, just so much at one with the horse. Yeah. Now, this young lady, and she's junior again to McDonald, obviously got a few splinters in the backside this year, and let's hope that's the making of her. And she's going to run a clear second in the Melbourne Jockeys Premiership after sitting out that 3 months.
Where does Willie Pike sit? Because he was so dominant in Perth. He came over here and relocated, but I'll tell you what, he's made a great fist of it, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and Pike is like John Allen in that of all these big name jockeys, they're the two that ride the most. Obviously there's been a slight dip in his sort of strike rates and things like that in a deeper pool, but he's got an impact value which is sort of a strike rate controlled for opportunity. He's kept it up over two, so he's still riding twice as many winners as he should.
The Kementari ride by Nashville Willa, stupidity or bravado, Adam?
Not for a punter to say. I'll sit on the fence like Nash did.
Moods?
He wouldn't have done it with the steel running rail.
No.
Bossy?
Yeah, crazy. He was just very lucky nothing went wrong. I think if something had gone wrong, he would have been looking at 6 months suspension because it would have looked so bad.
Now to Horse of the Year, guys, and did Nature Strip deliver a knockout blow at Ascot?
Oh, he'll be black caviar odds to win Horse of the Year, there's no doubt. He's been the best horse for the last two seasons, and he's done it again.
Moods?
It's hard to argue with Nature Strip. We've seen the emergence of some exciting horses, but he's top of the tree at the moment.
Adam?
Yeah, it's clear cut. I think there's a real sprinting Grand Slam in Australia, and that's the Everest, the VRC Classic, the Lightning and the TJ. He won 3 of them. He was dead stiff. Took one to wipe him out to stop him winning all 4. So it's pretty clear cut.
And just a few comments on some of the other contenders. Very Elegant Moods had a wonderful year, albeit perhaps a touchdown during the autumn.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, she saw those wet tracks in the autumn where I still think and say that she's probably better slightly closer to the top of the ground. Melbourne Cup win was there for all to see. It was awesome. And I'm not taking anything away from my horse Incentivise. I thought he was super. He went round in 4 Group 1s, 3 wins and second to Very Elegant in the Cup.
Yeah, I had him down for Horse of the Year, to be honest. But like I said, Nature Strip has to win just on what he's done. But I had him down as Horse of the Year. I thought he was just phenomenal.
And just on the ratings, incentivised right up there, Adam.
Yeah, he is. Bossy's bang on in October. It was just about all over, but sheer body of work. Nature Strip just overhauls him, and yeah, he's done it too many times.
And you're a big Animo man.
Oh, listen, I thought Animo was superb in the spring. Unfortunately, we saw him once in the autumn display that talent in the Rose Hill Guineas, albeit maybe mightn't have been one of the better Rose Hill Guineas ratings-wise or whatever, I don't know. But those Sydney autumn conditions were horrific for a horse like Animo. He could just bounce back and dominate the spring, and if he can return to that Cox Plate form, look out.
Adam, a lot of people say Jockey would have just turned up and won the Ladbrokes Cox Plate here where we are at Moonee Valley. What does history tell us figures-wise?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Zaki's got that one big performance in the Doomben Cup, but the rest of his form sits a little level below that, and it might just be a case of beating what he's been put in front of in the day. He's found himself in a lot of really soft spots, up riding soft paces, and he's got away with it a bit, I think. And I don't think he's a much better horse now than he was in the UK, just more reliable.
So the final word, Horse of the Year?
Oh, has to be Nature Strip.
Nature Strip.
Nature Strip.
Or Nature Stripe.
Nature Stripe, yes, Nature Stripe. That was a good one.